You may have been stuck at home for the past 15 months, but the city's ever-growing skyline didn't skip a beat. New buildings have sprouted up all over downtown Chicago, including some projects that might surprise you. Geoffrey joins us now for a tour of what we might have missed in tonight's Ask Geoffrey. Geoffrey, good to see you again. I don't know when the last time you went to the Loop was, but I don't know how many of these buildings were a surprise for you as well.
Totally a surprise in some cases, absolutely.
So this question comes from Evanston. It says, I just started going into the Loop again and was amazed at all the new buildings. Can you do an overview of some recent projects that were finished during the pandemic?
Well, I certainly can. And, it feels a little bit like many of us during the pandemic were sort of in suspended animation. So these buildings seem to have gone up in a blink of an eye. Let's start out with one that's very hard to miss. It's the St. Regis, Chicago, formerly known as Vista Tower, by acclaimed Chicago architect Jeannie Gang. You probably know Jeannie Gang for the St. Regis's neighbor tower called Aqua, with its undulating balconies. The soaring St. Regis, with its zigzag profile inspired by a natural crystalline form called a frustrum, is the third tallest building in Chicago, and it's also the world's tallest building designed by a woman. One curious detail you'll notice is the 83rd floor. It's completely empty and open to the elements. That's because it's known as a blow-through floor, and it was added to the building's design to reduce sway in the structure after wind tunnel tests on a model of the building.
So another huge development is down the river at Wolf Point. What's the latest on that project?
Right. So Wolf Point is the confluence of the three branches of the Chicago River, north, south, and in the main branch. Today, it's just west of the Merchandise Mart. Over the past decade, it's been totally transformed from a surface parking lot by three sleek towers, two of which are new since the pandemic. The 60-story Wolf Point East was completed last year, and it's home to almost 700 residential units and a soaring office building at the center of the complex, which is set to be completed in early 2023, is known as Salesforce Tower, after the tech company that will be the main tenant. Both of these new towers are designed by Clark Pelly of New Haven, which also did the site plan. Another super tall project, you can see it from the expressway. It's nearing completion. It's called One Chicago, and it's right across the street from Holy Name Cathedral on the near north side, so way on the other side from the expressway, but it's so tall. The residential complex includes two towers, 49 and 76 stories respectively, designed in partnership by Getch Partners and Hartshorne and Plunkard Architects. And they're connected at the base by retail and office space, with tenants expected to move in later this year. Getch Partners also designed a high-profile new tower on the Chicago River's South Branch. 110 North Wacker is partly supported by gigantic metal trees or tridents to open up the base for a river walk. Getch has done dramatic things like this at the bases of several of his recent buildings. For example, right across the river at 150 North Riverside, which opened a few years ago, that building sort of seems to come to a point at the bottom. And then there's also another building from a few years ago, 111 South Wacker by Getch, where the ceiling of the lobby is the underside of the spiral ramp to the parking garage.
Always impressed with architecture in Chicago. But of course, not every new addition downtown is actually a new building.
Oh, right. Yes. There's one that you won't see from Lakeshore Drive, the extensively renovated base of the Willis Tower. Over the past few years, the building's lobby and ground levels have undergone a complete overhaul by architecture firm Gensler, featuring a soaring atrium and new entranceways, plus shops, restaurants, and an outdoor green space. It's all designed to connect the building more with the street instead of it being a fortress as it once was. And as part of that whole project, there's a really eye-catching new piece of public art along Jackson Street by Icelandic and Danish artist Olafur Eliasson. It's inspired by waves on Lake Michigan. And then the $800 million transformation of the old post office, the old Chicago post office, into 2.5 million square feet of office space is finished. And it includes a 3.5-acre rooftop park, complete with a running track. Now, that park is only open to the building's tenants, but it can be rented for special events, Brandis, so keep that in mind. There are really these are just really a few of the transformations that you'll notice when you return to the Loop this summer for work or for pleasure. And by the way, if you cast your gaze in the other direction, that is out to sea, you'll see the new Sable Hotel at the east end of Navy Pier, which I would argue has really improved the look of the pier when you view it from the south. It's being marketed as the first hotel ever being built on top of Lake Michigan. Oh, and one final note before we go. We recently did a story on the search for a Chicago anthem back in the 1980s. And after the story aired, the winner of the contest, Jeff Jacobs, contacted us and gave us a recording of his anthem. And contrary to what I reported, Jacobs also told us that he did, in fact, received the prize money after a year of, quote, wrangling with the city. You can listen to his song on our website, and it is well worth it.
Tough to get money out of the city, isn't it? But that's great that, that he reached out to us and that he actually did get the prize money from the city. All right, Geoffrey Bear, thanks so much as always.
My pleasure.
And you can visit our website for more details about new buildings downtown. And while you're there, don't forget to submit your own question to Geoffrey Bear. That's at WTTW.com/AskGeoffrey.